Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second part of our town hall today. I hope you all enjoyed our MA Connect event so far. I think we had some really good discussions going on and some tough questions coming in from the audience. And I really appreciate all the speakers and moderators who put their time in here already to make this work. I want to cover a couple of things from within the Magento Association. I know there's been something on our agenda that you have all been waiting for the whole evening already, and we'll get to that. But for now, let's see what we've got on our agenda. So first of all, I'm going to cover a bit of MA leadership. We have the update on our board elections, the announcement, and some final reminders, and then we move over to our Q&A. Okay, let's take a closer look at the MA leadership. As you see here, this is our current board. We're small but mighty, and we are looking forward to growing in size in this year now, because as you know, for a couple of months, we have had 3 empty seats on the board that we want to fill. And in the meantime, there was plenty for all of us to do. And well, we couldn't get this much done if it wasn't for our committees and task force. They have helped us tremendously really getting us into action on our pillars. And realizing our vision. So we already heard from our committees earlier today, but I wanted to make sure that they receive the recognition as part of our leadership team, as they ensure that we are successful in our operations for our programs and initiatives. We're currently operating with 5 committees and 2 task forces, and each committee is powered by a group of community members who volunteer their time to make the Magento Association's vision come to life. And our committees also provide valuable feedback to help us stay on course of our mission. And of course, all members are invited to do that as well. And even if you're not a member, please feel free to reach out to the Magento Association whenever you think that there's something that needs to be voiced. Our content committee, we've heard from them working on all kinds of content. The blog posts you see on our website and most of the newsletters go through this committee, and they are also involved in our podcast. And we heard from them today already from many in the presentation and the committee update. Then we have our Diversity and Inclusion Committee. As we have communities around the globe, and at the Magento Association, we want to support all of them and see them represented in what we do and what we work for. The Diversity and Inclusion Committee helps us stay on this course and to improve the representation of currently underrepresented groups in the Magento ecosystem. As you may know, events have always been a vital part of our Magento ecosystem. I saw a couple of questions here today about Magento Brazil and talking about Magento Imagine. And the events committee, seated with some very experienced event organizers, oversees the organizer applications for Meet Magento events, and they share their knowledge and experience with those who contemplate creating a new event. Another committee is the membership committee. They are focused on ideas around membership growth and engagement and helping with marketing ideas for the association. And this is a fairly new committee, and I'm looking forward to all of what they bring to the table. I think there are plenty of more ideas up their sleeves that we haven't seen yet, and looking forward to that. And then our election committee. These members have shaped the election, the application process, and the election process itself this year. And talking of elections, we're getting closer to the announcement. maybe if you consider the applying as well, you know that the applicants were able to opt for either the direct election process, the slate process, or both. And the run for the direct election will basically be concluded with the announcement of the newly elected board member that we do today. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all who put their name in the hat and applied for the open board seats. And 13 people as candidates are there on their slate process. So that leaves us with 2 more open spots on the board, which will be filled by the slate process. So that means the election committee will interview the candidates and choose a slate consisting of 2 candidates. And they recommend the slate to the current board, who can either accept or decline the slate. And as a final step, the membership is asked to approve the slate. So we're looking here at the timeline of, well, basically the summer, with the slate process beginning in June and slate election then concluded in July or August. And then we hope to see our well, board fully seated in August or September. All right, and you see, I really skipped the important message here of really giving recognition not only to those who have applied for a board seat, but also those who have put in their work throughout the year, throughout the months and months of meetings and working on everything in our committees and task forces. I just want to say a big thank you to all. And yeah, I already got a message that I'm teasing you too much. So let's cut this bit shorter, not too short. The moment you have all been waiting for, it's time for the new board member. And drum rolls, please. Not sure if there's the appropriate emoji available. And here we are. The new member of our board is Sona Puri, the CEO of WebScale. Congratulations, Sona, and well, to all board applicants who haven't been, well, part of the board yet, I hope you all, well, I appreciate you putting your name in the hat, and we'll see what happens in the slate process. But first of all, let's welcome Sona here. Great to have you.
Thank you, Sonia. It's a pleasure, and I'm really honored. I think having the support of the association and the membership, and the fairly complicated election process and so on and so forth, I'm very, very committed to the association. Very committed to Magento. From WebScale, from me personally, I've just gotten to know so many people in the last 7.5 years that I've been a part of WebScale. This was new to me. Commerce was new to me when I came on board. I've been in internet infrastructure most of my industry. So when I was at Speedera and then at Akamai, I knew some commerce merchants, but not as many as I got to know in the last 7.5 years. So really blessed to be a part of the team, and hope to bring some of my business acumen to the table and see what we can do, because there's so much scope for improvement. There's so much scope for just transparency, and you guys have done an amazing job of just. It's a huge project to bring this association together, right from it being newly formed, focusing on open source. So many people's livelihoods dependent on Magento as a platform and how we think about it. Obviously I've interacted with agencies, interacted with merchants, interacted with people whose lives depend on Magento. And I feel that I've seen stories, too close. And I think there's, I would love to do more with the association. So really excited, looking forward to doing a lot, and both WebScale and me personally very committed to the success of this platform, because it just makes good business sense for us, and it makes good business sense for this group of people. So thank you.
Welcome. Happy to have you here. I have one question for you, though. We weren't prepared for this, but as we saw that you're so far been very much involved in the D&I committee, I'm wondering what part of the Magento Association you are most passionate about, because I also know that you're very much invested in Magento open source.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, obviously very passionate about DNI because, as you can see, this is the representation of DNI in its entirety in the US building a business. I think, I mean, across every front, I wouldn't say there's one area or the other, but I think just transparency for the future of open source based on what we've done with the task force, the picking of that task force and what the direction is going to take, and just the messaging. I don't want to put anybody from Adobe on the spot, but I would really love some clear messaging that we put together and that we share with the community so that we can give clear direction to what's happening. I don't know how many of you attended the PWA session that we had with Cora. There's a world beyond everything that we've been doing that doesn't exclude the work that we've been doing for the last, 13, 14 years on this platform. So really taking all of that and doing something with it. I'm not a developer. I'm not super technical. I don't think for me to be on the task force as a definer of features and functions is relevant, but just transparency, communication, one direction, leadership, those are the kinds of things that I think I can really impact.
And I also appreciate that you put your name in the hat after working already in the committee, because I think it shows that you understand what's going on internally as well, and don't shy away from the task that we have ahead of us, because there are quite a couple. And yeah, it's good to see you putting your passion for the Magento community here into this action of applying for the board. And I really like to see that community obviously supporting this and voted for you. So
I appreciate it. I think there were some key individuals that really helped me swing the vote, without putting too many names out there. But I think Karen Baker has a massive following, and she put her hat in the ring for me. And then there was also the people who said, there's no women on the entire group of candidates, because my name doesn't end with a vowel, so people confuse my name as maybe it's a dude. And I think that really did help. It got a lot of people passionate behind DNI.
Yeah. We do have a couple of maybe diverting perspectives from our dear colleagues. Okay. All right. So now I have a couple of final reminders for the rest of the audience, but I know that you will be around for our after show party, which basically might turn into kind of a lecture party. No? And so we'll see you in, let's say, 16 minutes, depending on how many questions we get from the audience.
I'll be there. Thank you.
See you later. All right. So I think I learned this all right from Josh. And final reminders. Yes. So here we are. These final reminders we have here to conclude our town hall updates. And before we then move to the Q&A, just wanted to put these out there for you. So if you're not a member of Magento Association yet, please take 2 minutes to join today through either Patreon, or if you prefer the free membership, to go to magentoassociation.org and sign up there. I think you've heard it already today, Patreon, there are different tiers available, and I'm sure there's one that fits your opinion, your needs, your budget, whatever you think is appropriate. I think there are different options for all, and you should find something that's really fitting. All right, and once you are a member, please stay in touch with us. I know we do send out a couple of newsletters every once in a while. Sometimes we get really chatty and send more, and sometimes we fall a bit quiet, but we try to make that better with the Momentum newsletter, sending out to a membership at the end of each month. But also, it never harms to just stay in touch with via other channels as well. So pick whatever social network you prefer, or where you want to be active, we have our Slack as well. That's where also our committees group together to coordinate work. And then we have some more events in our calendar. This is from, well, it should be on our website. It's not, because some of these infos are so new that they haven't been published there on the Magento Association website yet. But if you go to our website, you'll find the events calendar where we post upcoming Meet Magento events and Magento Association events and webinars, etc. And this graphic here is mocked, but the dates are true and they have been confirmed. And we're really excited to see more events coming up this year in person, and hoping to meet some of you more there. And then we also have, well, obviously, an event doesn't end with the last session. It really ends when you send out the post-event survey. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So keep an eye out for the post-event survey. That should be hitting your mailbox then tomorrow on June 8th. Okay, now I would like to have my dear fellow board member on here on stage. Not even sure if he's ready. But there he is. Oh, yeah. So, Slava, it's not evening for you yet, so you should be more awake and ready to tackle the questions.
Sure. If you don't feel awake, maybe some questions will also make you feel awake.
To get my pulse racing. Okay, I have one more slide here to share with our fellow attendees. So if you go to the Q&A tab, well, this is the screenshot here is not correct. It should be stage, not session. And then you could put in your questions. You can also upvote questions from others. You can ask anonymously whatever you feel is best suited for your question. So far, I haven't seen any. I thought not, no. I don't believe that, dear audience, you don't have any questions. If you have, you would let us off the hook really easy here. Right. Maybe Sonal is the answer to our questions. That's
yeah, the main question definitely got answered, and perhaps the audience, our members, might have any questions on the election process and both kind of the past aspects of it and what's coming next, and anything like that, or any questions regarding other aspects of the association, please feel free to shoot them.
I see one question and one remark. The remark first, it is that they ask for in-person events, something we all can get behind. Really looking forward to what will be happening at Meet Magento UK soon, and then Meet Magento Singapore and Indonesia and New York. And so then we'll put in a Magento Association event hopefully soon in the queue after those. And also the question, why is the chairman of the board not here? Slava, I think we are allowed to share, at least that Josh is fine.
Yeah, there is no coup or anything like that. There's no place for conspiracy theories. Josh is fine, but he's had an exciting family kind of update, an event that's now having him really occupied for the next at least 1 or 2 weeks, or as I joked, the next 18 years maybe. So this is the reason why he was not able to attend this conference.
Yep, I mean, we all love our community, but family is first. Okay. Then we have a question of someone asking, well, they want to get involved, but do not know where to start, and asking if there are any suggestions. Okay. I'm not sure if that was covered by our committee updates. We do have, well, some committees who are rather big, And then there's some committees who are rather small. So I think, for example, the content committee is currently at a rather smaller size and could actually use some more help. So anyone who is interested in marketing, or rather in content marketing more specifically, is happy to reach out to us and join us there. You'll find our email addresses on the magentassociation.org website under Who We Are. Scroll down to all the committees. Also, if you want to have, be an author on the Magento Association's Commerce Co-op blog, there's also an option for you to get involved. I'm not exactly sure how many of our other committees currently need more people on there. You may know from your own work experience that some work is best done with a group of people that can be fed by something like 2 pizzas, so around 7 people. Especially in a video call, it sometimes gets a bit crowded. Yeah, Slava, I don't know about your committees. You're in a couple of them, or task forces involved as well.
Yeah, I'm mostly, my time went recently to the election committee, and that's seated. But in general, since we all know that committee members are volunteers and life happens, and maybe availability of people changes. So what we are also discussing within the board is how to make those committees kind of more alive, and ensure that it's not once committee is elected, the people are forever there, just to let them have an opportunity if they feel like they cannot dedicate their time anymore, to kind of thank them for their service and have their seat open maybe for somebody else who might have availability and desire to serve on it. So if you see that committees are kind of looking full on the website, that doesn't mean that your help is not needed there. I would still encourage you to email to our staff, to Jacqueline, and there will be kind of a waiting list. So once we have a free spot, we'll reach out and try to accommodate those desires for service. So that's it. I would say check out the list of committees and apply where you're passionate about a specific topic. But also the other way to contribute is content generation. So that is always needed if you have articles for us, especially some with some kind of insight and unique content. I think that's needed for sure. And yeah, any help with memberships, driving our memberships up, also help with sponsorships is needed, because that's one of the key points. Is we want to be independent organization, and that involves funding and diverse funding sources. This year we introduced paid membership. That's one of those sources, but it is of course not enough, and the primary source of revenue for the association is partner fees from our partners. So we would love to have more companies partnering up with us. So perhaps if you can make some introductions, or if you work at the company that would be open to this idea, please feel free to ping us. We'll be happy to take it from there. So those are just a few ideas.
Okay, and the too long didn't read here, I think is email to Jacqueline, that is info@magentassociation.org. List what you would like to work on, maybe list some of your key experiences you could put in the hat, put in the ring then for the team, and we'll take it from there. Okay, we have a question of any plans to meet Magento Brazil. I think I answered it in one of the other Q&As. So as far as I know right now, I'm not aware of any plans. I'll let my content committee, the events committee, correct me if I'm wrong. But we don't have any current plans around this as far as I know. So I'm not sure who would be organizing that. And then we have a question on key lessons learned in this most recent election cycle. I think, Slava, that's something for you.
Yeah, it's we're processing our experience as an election committee, and after the voting has finished, we had a little session to discuss the results, and we are gathering our insights to improve the process in the future, because this was the first time we ran the elections, and originally our bylaws also didn't plan for a direct election. They were planned for a slate process, but late last year, we heard the community that community wanted to have a direct influence, and we decided to provide this opportunity. But of course, this approach, it has some risks and drawbacks, and we are now analyzing all the votes, the patterns, and what was going on, just to make some decisions on how we should approach the elections in the future, because we did not, we couldn't account for everything that might happen, and kind of just observing the process gave us some ideas and topics that we want to discuss. And for example, this would be just the recommendations or maybe policies we will want to introduce that would concern people kind of sponsoring memberships for other people, for example. This is in itself, I think, is a good thing if somebody is making membership more accessible to others. But the questions are whether those people should be allowed to run for the elections if they sponsor memberships of other people, or whether they should be able to openly kind of campaign for other people and sponsor memberships at the same time. So those are the questions that elections committee will have to discuss and make the recommendation to the board for the next elections. But also we are considering company benefits, company memberships, and how would votes work in that case. Like, should there be any limits on the particular numbers of people voting from the same company for a certain candidate, or should they be able to support candidates that run from the same company? So there are a lot of questions which are kind of good topics for the election committee to figure out. So those are maybe not the lessons learned, but some topics to discuss, I would say, and make adjustments potentially to our further policy. So those are the views.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a question, is there any reason why every committee member have the company they work for next to their name? And if it wouldn't be better to just have the people represent themselves without mentioning the company names, and to take special interest out of volunteering? Good question. I think it's a bit force of habit, as we have, well, at least for me, I think I've grown up with this pattern of having the company listed next to their to the person's name. Some of them even ask to be more, well, recognized for their company and not for them individually. And I think for some it's also, well, it might be motivation to bring this on also for their team, to show how committed they are. If we look back on the biggest contributing companies for Magento, I think Adrix was really pushing for the first spot there and got that also. So yeah, I think we could take that off and just put then the person's name. But I think some of them really appreciate if we also notice that it's the company, because sometimes, for example, for me, it's also my company that has my back here and lets me spend almost the complete working day at an event without any questions asked. So I also appreciate if, well, that doesn't go completely unnoticed. And I think that might be the same for others volunteering here as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to second, Sonia, that some companies, they sponsor time of their employees for nonprofit activities. So in that case, recognition might be also appropriate. But this is, I don't think anybody really puts much thought behind, like, let's put these companies there for a certain reason. This is just perhaps the common practice, I would say, in professional associations, because this is in the end, it's connected to the work we do. So it's connected to the companies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we have Willem asking when we can expect financial data from the MMA, as it's been promised for multiple years in a row.
Yeah, you want me to answer that, I guess. So,
well, since Danny isn't here right now.
Danny isn't here, our treasurer. So I think transparency is important, and this is something we should be moving towards. It hasn't been a priority, to be frank, to just go and kind of figure out what exactly should be published and with what frequency and everything like that. But I see also Danny answered in the text to William that we're currently auditing the financial statement for 2021, and once that's done, we'll release the balance. So also to just kind of to ensure that funds are being used properly, it's a requirement that each year Magento Association goes through an audit, and this audit is done by independent company that has a license to do those kind of audits for nonprofits in the US. So as part of the audit, they make sure that accounting is done properly and that there is no kind of fraud committed or no signs of that. So you can be sure that nothing kind of malicious is going on with Magento Association's finances. That's being controlled by a third party. Yeah, the question is if you'd like to see more of where funds are going. I think, as Danny said, this will be released with some accounts where funds are kind of being used, so the members can see what's going on. And now, especially with paid membership, I think like we have more responsibility on us to show how those funds are being used.
Okay, Danny just sent me a message that he wasn't able to join us here on stage right now. I'm not sure if you want to try again, Danny, right now, but I think Slava also covered the question quite well. We have one more question. If partner companies should update their skills in Java, Python, Node.js, or Go, and asking if the future of Magento microservices will be written in something that is not PHP. Slava, get your crystal ball out. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure that, actually, I'm sure that I'm not qualified to answer that question entirely. But I can only, like you say, get my crystal ball out and make a wild prediction that we'll see technologies go beyond PHP for sure. And it is already that way for headless implementations because JavaScript is needed there, for example, and all the front-end stack of technologies. So I think that's inevitable if microservices are separated and we want to build the front-end part to it or some kind of non-intrusive way of interacting with the platform, then of course. But I would say this is, at this point of time, it might be early to actually put together a concrete plan of which technologies have to be learned. We still probably have some time for it.
Mm-hmm. I already got the heads-up message that we are behind time. Eric, I saw your message. Could you please send an email to Danny regarding the financials? And we have, well, Sonal, the person of the evening, really, or afternoon, depends on what you think, waiting in the party room. And people, let's head over to the after-show party. If you go to the sessions tab, you should be able to find Sonal there and bring a glass of whatever you like to drink at this hour. Head over there, have a bit of a conversation with the community, catching up. And I hope you all enjoyed MA Connect. I hope we answered most of your questions or all of your questions sufficiently, and hope to see you around soon.
And thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. And Sonia, thanks a lot for being the driving force behind MA Connect for the past couple of editions. You're really the beating heart of the event, and together with the organizing team, I want to thank you all, also Marta and Marsha, and also Vijay, I think, right, is involved with the event, so, as well as all our moderators and volunteers and speakers and sponsors, and of course all our paid members and free members. You make Magento Association better every day, and you drive us forward as an organization. So thanks everyone, and let's get to the after party and congratulate Sonal.
Yes, thank you, Slava.
Thank you.